Good morning, my name is Eli. Can you please tell me your full name?
Okay, my name is Anastasia Velsova.
And what should I call you?
Nastia is fine.
Okay, Nastia. Now, in this first part, I'd like to ask you some questions about yourself. Let's talk about what you do. Do you work or are you a student?
I'm working in IT field as a customer support executive.
Have you been doing this job for a long time?
Not yet. I work around 1 year on this position, but I did the same type of work before in insurance company. It was customer support as well.
Right, so one of the first impressions that I get from this interview is that Nastia is feeling confident and relaxed. And you can see that in her body language and her facial expressions. However, it's also pretty clear that Nastia has troubles with articles. She said, "I'm working in IT field," instead of saying, "I'm working in the IT field." And she also said, "I did the same type of work before in insurance company." It should be in an insurance company. Now, I think that this is a fairly common problem for Russian speakers. So if you're a Russian speaker and you're getting ready to do the IELTS test, take some time to brush up on your use of articles before you go to do your test. What do you like most about your job?
The most I like in my job is to help people solve their problems, and also I like that it's a little bit same. It's like psychologist work. You should understand the person as well, what he really wants, and if he upset, you should help him to be more happy, let's say. Yeah, and yeah.
This is a very common question in IELTS, but it's also surprisingly tricky to answer. So before you go to do your IELTS test, think about how you would answer, what do you like most about your job, your studies, your hometown, your neighborhood? These questions get asked again and again, and they are actually surprisingly difficult to answer on the spot. Now let's move on. Let's talk about desserts. Do you like to eat desserts after eating dinner?
No, I don't like desserts. I prefer more savory food. I'm not the type of person who likes sweets.
Sorry to interrupt again. I love this phrase. I'm not the type of person who likes sweets. This is a very useful phrase for IELTS because it is considered as advanced grammar and we can use it regularly in part 1. So for example, we can say, I'm not the type of person who likes eating out. I'm not the type of person who wakes up early at the weekend. My best friend is not the type of person who likes going to parties. So, not the type of person who is a very useful phrase for IELTS.
And I usually, if I have to choose between something like pasta or pizza or something sweet, I will choose pizza or pasta.
Are there any special desserts from your country?
Special desserts? I think so, yes, but because I'm not dessert person, I maybe... yeah, I remember one. We have cake which calls, really strange, I don't know why, don't ask me, the bird's milk.
Right.
Yes. And this is a cake, like a white souffle, and it's really tasty, but I don't really like it. That is like traditional Russian milk souffle.
Have you ever made a dessert?
Yes, a lot. I like to cooking and I cook a lot, and a lot of my friends like desserts, and yeah, I cook it time after time, some pies and sometimes some cakes, birthday cakes, but it's rare situation when I do it.
Why do you think some people enjoy making desserts?
I know a few people who really enjoy cooking and making desserts. I think you can clear your mind. At this time you just do some mechanic things and you don't think about the problems. You just a little bit out of work. You just concentrated on cooking, and also it's like you create something. When you create something, you feel that you make something from nothing to big thing, like cake.
Let's move on. Let's talk about gifts.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any special gifts in your country that people give to others?
I should think about it a minute. I don't know. Maybe on some days. I don't know. I think it's just general gifts in every country and in my country as well. Like if you have, maybe when somebody births the baby, you can give him the small spoon. I don't know why.
Right.
Some silver spoon for, I don't know. Maybe they should sell it when they grow up. But yeah, like this.
Are there any gifts that you have received that were especially important to you?
All the gifts will have a special for me because it's gift, and I remember that usually it's some jewelry, some earrings and necklace, which I usually wear and I like it, and some of them from my friends. I have a special bracelet from my grandfather, and also some things what you use every day, and you look at this and you really like it.
Thank you. Now in this next part I'd like to give you a topic and I'd like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes. Before you talk, you'll have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say, and you can make some notes if you wish. Do you understand?
Okay, yeah, let's try.
Okay, so here's a pencil and some paper. This is for making notes.
Mm-hmm.
And here is your topic. I'd like you to describe a book that you enjoyed reading. Alright, remember you have 1 to 2 minutes for this, so don't worry if I stop you.
Okay.
I'll tell you when the time is up. Can you start speaking now, please?
Okay, let's go. Okay, the first question here is what the book is, and my favorite book is Harry Potter. All the series, all the books about that boy. And who wrote this book? This book wrote Joanne Rowling, and I think she's from England. And her story also is really inspiring me because if believe the magazines and interview, she tried to publish these books a lot of years and tried to find somebody who will interest to work with her, and she couldn't find it. And this is kind of story of success when you trying hard, and it's inspire me. Why I read this book?
Right, now you can see that Nastia is going through the bullet points one by one. It's a good idea to talk about all of the bullet points. However, you don't actually have to answer the bullet points in order. A good idea in part 2 is to tell a story. So if I were Nastia, I would tell the story about when I first found out about Harry Potter, where I bought the book from, who I talked to about the book, why I found it so special, that kind of thing. When we focus on telling a story instead of answering the questions, it becomes easier to talk for longer, and we often use better vocabulary and grammar as well.
And when I was a kid, I didn't like to read, and my mom tried to involve me in reading because she read a lot, and she found this book somewhere in the internet and decided to buy it for me, and yeah, it was really interesting, and jump in this in these books, and all the stories super interesting for me, and I think it's like real life, and there is a lot of examples, and when I grow up I can see more and more examples from the real lives, which is in the book, like pretty same. Go, let's go. And what about this book? It's a book about the boy who is the...
Thank you.
Okay.
Would you recommend this book to other people?
Yes, every time. It's the... I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure. I have... I know some people who didn't read this book, but I will recommend it. If you not read it.
Thank you. Can I take the paper back?
Nothing there.
And the topic as well, if you could just pass me that one.
Okay.
Thank you. So we've been talking about a book that you enjoyed, and I'd like to discuss with you one or two more general questions related to this. Let's consider first of all reading books. What kind of books are popular in your country?
Oh, I think in general in my country is super popular the classic Russian books like Dostoevsky, Tolstoy, Pushkin, Chekhov, because we can say in these books you can feel the Russian soul, which is for me like more Russian mentality, the way to live, the way to love, and this is like more... They show you real Russian problems, and they usually hard books, like really hard to read because it's super emotional, and the people in super complicated situations, they should make some serious choices, and I think it's super popular in my country, also because it's like serious.
Right, I really like this answer. Nastia doesn't just list the books that are popular in Russia, but she shows a willingness to talk at length and begins to explain why she thinks these books are so popular. This will certainly help her to get band 7+ for fluency and coherence. And are these books taught in schools, or do people tend to read these books in their leisure time?
I think they start read it in the school because this is the school program. Maybe some more short and simple books, but when you grow up, you maybe have that habit to use it, to read it, and you read more, and like, you already you could be the fan of some poet or writer, and you already just read all the book what he writes. Sorry.
And do you think that technology has changed the way that we read books?
Yeah, of course, because I think everybody used the phone or the e-books for reading books, and I don't know, maybe it's better because the library will close, no tree used.
Do you think that will happen in the future, that libraries will close and people will be moving to electronic books?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe some really old books will saved, like the historical art object, but yeah, the general books, like the paper books, will gone. I think so.
Why do you think some people prefer reading paper books instead of electronic books?
It's because of the feeling, the vibe of reading real books, because maybe it's more quiet. When you read real book, you don't distract, because in your phone sometimes some notification or something, and also real books smell different. I heard this.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
they do have a certain smell to them.
Yep.
Let's move on. Let's talk about reading non-fiction books, so factual books, for example, about history. Why do you think people enjoy reading non-fiction books?
I don't know, maybe they learning. I'm not a big fan of non-fiction books, but they learning because the history usually teach us how to do something or do not do. They read some story about success and maybe try to learn how to do the same to achieve the same things.
When it comes to, for example, reading or learning about history, do you think it's better to read about history in books or, say, watch historical documentaries?
I don't know, it's up to person. If you prefer books, it's better for you to read the books. If you prefer movies, you can read the movies. For me, the movies is better.
Why do you think some people would prefer to watch documentaries about history rather than read books about history?
I don't know, maybe if you want to remember that, you should. Some people have a sensation like me. I'm more visual person, and when I watch movie, I will remember that because when I close my eyes, I will remember that picture. Like, okay, the picture like this. It was this year or this country, and happened some things happen.
So, thank you very much, Nastia. That is the end of the speaking test.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well done, Nastia. A very nice speaking test. What's clear is that Nastia is a great communicator and she is very good at being understood. In this test, Nastia would get a 7 for Fluency and Coherence, a 7 for Lexical Resource, a 6 for Grammatical Range and Accuracy, and a 7 for Pronunciation. So her final speaking score would be band 6.5, and she is super close to getting band 7. So first of all, I would be giving her a 7 for Fluency and Coherence. And this is because she is able to speak at length when answering all of the questions I asked. Now, one thing that lowers your score for Fluency and Coherence is hesitation. So when you say, however, there are two types of hesitation. There's language-related hesitation, and then there is content-related hesitation. So language-related hesitation is when you are hesitating because you can't think of a word, and this will lower your score. The other is content-related hesitation, which is when you are hesitating because you are trying to think of an idea. Now, for Nastia, most of her hesitation is content-related. Have a look at this. Are there any special desserts from your country?
Special desserts? I think so, yes, but because I'm not dessert person, I maybe... yeah, I remember one.
So there is hesitation, but only because Nastia is trying to think about what Russian desserts there are. And actually, these kinds of questions are usually quite easy to answer when you're at home and feeling relaxed. But in an exam, it's quite difficult to think of ideas on the spot. Now, Nastia does a clever thing here. She explains why she is hesitating. She says, I think so, yes, but I'm not a dessert person. So she's explaining why she's hesitating and finds this question difficult to answer. And that's a great idea for when you get a tricky question in the IELTS test that you're not 100% sure how to answer. Remember, you can say things like, tricky question. I can't think of any off the top of my head, or I can't really think of any at this particular moment. Remember, the examiner doesn't really care if you know Russian desserts or you don't know Russian desserts. It's all about how you communicate when you know or don't know the answer to a question. So if I can't think of any desserts, I might say something like, I can't think of any off the top of my head, The most common desserts that people in the UK like to eat are things like brownies, tiramisu, ice cream, though I wouldn't say any of them are actually from the UK. I will give Nastia a 7 for Lexical Resource. So first of all, Nastia has a lot of great collocations like solve problems, savoury food, saying that cooking can clear your mind. She also has some high-level vocabulary like Russian mentality and describing someone as a visual person. Also, it's very easy to understand and follow what Nastia is saying. She's definitely a great communicator and has enough vocabulary to communicate her ideas and answer all of the questions. However, there are also inappropriacies which lower her score. For example, she says things like read movies instead of watch movies in part 3. Now, grammatical range and accuracy is Nastia's lowest score. In terms of grammatical range, Nastia would easily get band 7. She uses a lot of different structures and a lot of advanced structures also. However, Nastia's score is lower for accuracy. She struggles with articles and also has some trouble with the passive form and past tenses. For example, when she's talking about Harry Potter, she says, "This book wrote Joanne Rowling," but it should be in the passive form. This book was written by Joanne Rowling. Now, often the best way to improve your grammatical accuracy is to have a private teacher or a language partner who can point out when you make these kinds of mistakes. And that's what I'd recommend for Nastia in order to secure the band 7 that she is certainly capable of. Finally, Nastia has great pronunciation. There are a few words that she pronounces incorrectly, but in general she has great rhythm when she speaks and she is very good at stressing words to convey her ideas. Listen to how she answers this question and varies the speed and pitch of her voice. Do you like to eat desserts after eating dinner?
No, I don't like desserts. I prefer more savory food. I'm not the type of person who likes sweets, and I usually, if I have to choose between something like pasta or pizza or something sweet, I will choose pizza or pasta.
Great pronunciation. Nice one, Nastia. Right, I hope that watching this speaking test has helped you in your own preparation for the IELTS test. If you want more help with your IELTS, then check out www.englishprotips.com, where you'll find a speaking course, a reading course, a writing course, listening course, and a vocabulary course, which are all helping numerous students to get band 7, band 8, and even band 9 in the IELTS test. Best of luck with all of your studies, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye then.